Baseball is America's greatest sport, also known as America's pastime. It began in the 1800s and soared in popularity from there. Today, I will be telling you about America's favorite sport. I will also tell you how it developed going into the 1900s. Finally, I will be telling you what it is like present day and how it has changed. Abner Doubleday was the creator of baseball. There were many myths that it was created beforehand, but it became finalized that he was the creator of baseball. The New York Knickerbockers were the first team to play an actual baseball game. Next, the National Association of Baseball Players was created in 1857. This association involved 16 clubs, and they played like a league. And the NABBP was the first organization to lead the sport and establish a championship. So at the beginning of the 1900s, there what became known as the dead ball era. And the dead ball era was when the managers around the clubs were very, very cheap. And so the balls were $3 a pop, equivalent to $88 today, and they didn't want to spend the money. So the balls they used were very, very wore out. And this caused the ball to break more, and it caused hitters to go into more of a slump. So in this era, baseball was kind of revolved around inside ball, like bunting, and scores were very, very low. And this era ended in 1919 when they just decided to buy more balls. So in the 1900s, there was lots of gambling going around, but the biggest one that went on was the Black Sox scandal. And this happened in 1919 in the World Series. 8 players from the Chicago White Sox were paid to basically throw the 1919 World Series, and they got in a lot of trouble and got suspended for this. The AL and NL was established in 1901, which this is where like trading and stuff and rivalry started to go on, so that's when that began. And then the All-Star Game, which introduced in 1933. The All-Star Game is when this is what the really, really good players get selected for, and they get to go to the All-Star Game and compete. The Baseball Hall of Fame was created in 1936, and the hall was formally opened in 1939. This is where the best of the best go. So, yeah, they get introduced for that. And so, before World War II, baseball was really, really competing with like cricket and those type of sports. It wasn't really the most popular sport. But after World War II, baseball boomed in attendance, average crowds leaped nearly 70%, and numbers continued to grow as time went on. Next became the steroid era. Steroids became a big problem later in life, but during this time, they actually were not illegal, and players like Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds hit a lot of home runs because of steroids. And steroids were not banned until 1991, but actually players were not tested until 2003, so a lot of players got away with it. So baseball in the present day. The introduction of technology has changed the game tremendously at almost every level. In 2002, video technology was first used, and it is still used today to track pitch speed, break, and location. Technology is also used to evaluate umpire calls, which makes the calls much more accurate. So if a coach sees a close play at first base, they can review it and go back and look at it and see if they made the right call or change the call. So in present day, there are much more home runs hit by players, which this is very true. Many players back in the day, they didn't hit even over 20 home runs. Nowadays, almost every player in the MLB hits over 20 home runs, if not more than that. So players have gotten much more bigger and stronger due to the improvements of diets and equipments in weight rooms, which this is also the reason why players hit a lot more home runs. Thank you for listening to my speech.